Timing is everything in life, and the Guardians have not had it all season. Runners in scoring position, injuries, losing games they can't afford, and now they're running out of time to overcome bad luck.
Parker Messick, Cleveland Guardians. You're listening to Locked On Guardians.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yeah, timing has not been good for the Guardians at about any moment this season. On the field, off the field, and off days, doesn't matter what it is. There's been no good time this year, at least not since the All-Star break for the Cleveland Guardians. And like it or not, they have now combined inconsistency, some bad habits with bad luck, and that is turning things pretty sour. We'll get to that all in today's episode of Locked On Guardians, your only daily Cleveland Guardians podcast, covering your team every day from the majors, the minors, the draft, and everything in between. Hosted there by Jeff Ellis. Hosted the show for 8 years. I'm Justin Lada. Been here with you for 4. With Jeff, we've all spent 19 years covering the Guardians minor league system. I want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Later in today's show, we'll get into whether or not winning the series, if the Guardians can find a way to win on Wednesday and Thursday, if that's enough, considering their current standings and trends. We'll talk about Rhys Hoskins going on the injured list, along with some other injury lists, and if we'll see Rhys Hoskins again this year, and the call-up of David Fry. We start this episode off, Jeff, though, talking about Wednesday's loss, and, you know, it combines a bad loss just in general. I think all losses are bad at this point for them, but this is one they should have won, one they had to win, and, you know, they've got nobody but themselves to blame, because when you don't give yourself any margin for error, you can't overcome bad luck when it does hit you. I know nobody wants to hear it, and I don't care, because this is how we see it, and this is the game we watched, and this is what the numbers say after the game we watched to back up what we think. The Guardians had a little bit of bad luck on Wednesday in that loss. Now, again, like I said, did they do things that hurt their chances? Sure, they absolutely did do things that hurt their chances. Both things can be true at once. They definitely didn't do things well. They definitely had bad luck, and they're definitely in a position where they're at right now where they can't afford bad luck because they don't have the time or the games to play with at this point. And the bad luck in this one comes from, you know, essentially having a better expected batting average than the Giants by a lot. Pitching was better. They had, I believe, on the top 7 exit velocities in the game belonged to the Guardians. 2 of those were hits, 5 of those were outs. And yes, exit velocity isn't everything, because it has to be combined with the right hit direction, it has to be combined with the right launch angle. You got to find the right spots, and sometimes you just don't have that. But Travis Bazzana, I would say Angel Henao another time,
and Jose.
Jose's
line out was an 8.
Yes.
So there was, just to kind of chime in. So I know people get mad whenever we bring this up, but I'm going to lay down the facts with it. Just plain and simply here. Jose had an expected batting average of 800 on his line out, that hard hit line out, and it was caught. Angel Henao, when we had runners at second and third, a player
that
makes
was
a great
big one.
That's a big one. Great diving catch. And it was just framed perfectly, which we'll get into in a second. That was expected batting average of 770. And then Travis Bazzana's ground out, expected batting average of 540. Even Kwan's line out earlier in the game was a 470. And Rocchio had a decent line out for as rough as I've been with him, expecting batting average over 400. So all of those, you know, is the case, where the other side of it is you look at every single high expected batting average for the Giants, every single one fell in. And even the ones that were not high, like the one run in this game came on an expected batting average of 220.
Victor Barricado's home run.
So not home run, the single. And then, you know, which would have been the third out. So it wouldn't have mattered that Young Hoo Lee had a double afterwards. But you get to this, and for those who are curious, Giants expected batting average 154, Cleveland's 236. So that's what we're talking about with this. Now you get to this situation where I feel like we bring this up all the time. It's like, well, if they didn't have bad luck, they wouldn't have any luck at all. And I know other people are like, it's because they don't hit the ball hard. It's like expected batting average is a reflection of hitting the ball hard. Like this is so you can't, your defense can't be like, well, it's because they don't hit the ball hard. It's like, no, the expected batting average is high because a big part of that is how hard you hit it. And then people are like, well, it's because they hit it right at people. I'm like, well, that also gets featured into expected batting average. You can hit the crap at the ball, but if you're hitting it at a spot that is traditionally where players, line up against you, then that affects it. But really, to me, I mean, this whole game came down to the catch and on Hanau, and then them not executing. You're facing a not great team. You have to execute better, and that's where the bad luck comes in. Like, unfortunately, these two teams played a very even game, and when you play an even game, it sets you up for a situation where is going to be the determination. And the thing is, when you are Cleveland, you shouldn't be playing a very easy game. And I know people will listen, I've been very critical of Voda points this year, but like, I thought this was actually maybe one of his better managed games this year. The biggest culprit of like this lineup in the situation is A, they knew that Wilkinson was going to go 2 innings, and 2, everyone's hurt. Half the bench is unavailable. Like, not having this is a game where you really saw like not having Joe Adell in there, because at least he's hitting the ball hard, and he probably would have had a good result against Wilkinson. And then not having DeLauter has been arguably their best hitter this year for a few games. And I'll also say this, like, Jose Ramirez first inning not challenging the baseball. Like, I still don't understand. That's the other thing that's sad. Like, the ball was 1.5 feet outside, and it would have been ball 4. And then you wonder, because Nate Lowe comes up and hits the ball hard, it's like, is Adames then in position to make that play? And if he's not, you have 2 guys on, then guess what? That's when Angel came up and got a hit off of Wilkinson. And it's the little things throughout that could have shifted this game. They can still win the series. And, we'll talk about our debates on the whole approach with the series is, but Messick was fantastic. He's blown past his innings high, and he was great. It was a nice double by Bazana, and now continues. I mean, he really should have had a 3-hit game. Like, he just continues to be an absolute menace out there. The rest of the team didn't do, and Angel had 2 good hits as well.
I mean, one of his was a 67-mile-an-hour single.
He still had 2 hits in the end. I'm not gonna.
That had a 980 expected batting average because he found the right little sweet spot there to hit it, which is what we talk about all the time. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. They didn't execute. Like, they're, on Jose Ramirez, he struck out late in the game. He also had a pop up on a bad pitch. Travis Bazana, he had a good game
after the walk, which should have been a walk.
Yes.
Instead, he pops up weekly, which is he's been senior pop up this year.
Yeah, unfortunately,
more pop ups than my kids' books. It's been hard to watch at points.
Yeah, Bazana, the ground out he had, Bazana had a pop up too. And that was, I think you texted me, that was ball 4. He popped
ball
out
4.
on.
Yeah, it's a pitch you can't do anything with. It was up and in on him. It was just that what drove me.
And then he had the hard hit double. He had the hard hit double, which was great to see. Unfortunately, it was who did he hit that in front of? Was that
Martinez? Martinez was the one on base. Oh, you mean who was behind him? Martinez was on first when he hit that.
Okay, so they had to hold him up. That's right, because I was like, are they going to send? They didn't send him. Which is interesting because sometimes they've had some bad sends this year.
I mean, yeah, but I wonder if they had a talk with Rugi. Rugi has been a lot more passive recently, and I wonder if he is.
Yeah, but Bazana had the bad pop up at 1.2. So even though he had 2 hard hit balls in this game where he should have,
it was the second inning. That was the second inning. Was bad.
That's what we're talking about. Like, those are little pieces of execution that would have made a big difference in this game if you execute, and it's just not enough. That's why I said this team hasn't given itself any margin for error. Like,
nope.
Yeah, Messick's wild pitch there in the 4th inning, didn't help because it put Devers at third base. Then he got a fly out, shallow left field. Kwan's got a good arm. Devers is not a fast runner, so he wasn't going to challenge that. And then, like you said, Victor Barricado had that's an infield single, or the single just got by Rocchio. It's a 220 expected batting average. It was that one got in, and that's how it works. Devers scored, and that would have been the 3rd out. But even if you don't throw that wild pitch, Devers is on second, so Barricado's single sends him to 3rd, and then Jung Ho Lee doubles. That run scores anyway, so you still give up 1 run. And, you still have to be able to, as a pitcher, be able to not be perfect. You have to be able to go out there and give up a run and know that your offense has you. And, good luck or bad luck, the Guardians' offense has been inconsistent. They've had nights like Wednesday night Tuesday night looked great offensively, and then they came back Wednesday and they did some things poorly at the plate, like, Bazana, Jose, Rocchio, Halpin. They did some bad things, and then they had bad luck. And like I said, that's part of the margin for error. They just don't have enough lineup to overcome bad luck. They're not at a place in the season and what they've done to this point to be able to survive bad luck. Like at this point, you need all the luck on your side.
Yeah, they didn't do enough to win, and then that's when you leave it in the the gods of
Fate's
luck's hands. And right now the gods
baseball
of luck
gods can be cruel. Yeah,
hate them. So
they do. Yeah,
it's time to sacrifice a chicken. Let's be honest. That's where it is.
We can talk about that. It's that, or maybe there's some karma here too. We can talk about that in a second. We'll talk more about Parker Messick's game, the bullpen. We'll talk about Rhys Hoskins' injury and if he's coming back this year. And then we'll get into whether or not the Guardians is winning 2 out of 3 in these upcoming stretch of bad teams enough. Well, there's no denying it. I have a sweet tooth, and if you are like me, you know how tough it is to find something that satisfies sweet cravings, and you don't want the sugar, the guilt, the crash. The 5-hour energy fruity rainbow shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. Fruity Rainbow 5-hour energy shots. They treat your taste buds to an explosion of fruity flavor. They tasty caffeine kick, a quick and easy way to satisfy your sweet tooth craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I have been trying to do better with my health recently and trying to look at food options and energy stuff to give me a little bit more energy without a crash, something healthy, something I don't feel guilty about that isn't going to ruin my day and my diet. So 5-hour energy, the Fruity Rainbow shot sounds perfect to give me a little bit of energy boost when I need it throughout my day, whether it's my day job or this job. I don't feel guilty about the crash. Get candy-flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-hour energy shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. And, there's just nothing like being in person at any sort of event, whether it's sports, a concert, comedy. I love going to all those, even theater. Cleveland, we're blessed with great theater in Cleveland. It's so much better to watch it live, experience it live with an audience, with friends. The only problem is getting tickets. That can feel like a pain, right? You get long queues if it's a big stadium tour. I know it took forever for us to find Foo Fighters tickets the other week. Surprise fees and jumping at checkout. Nobody likes that. And that is why you want to use Game Time, the app that gives advantages back to fans like us. Constant innovation helps you unlock amazing tickets and experience just a couple taps. Simple to use. I've used Game Time multiple times. You get the Game Time guarantee, which gives you 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. And the best part about using Game Time is the fees are included before. So the price you see is the price you pay. No more checking that big concert or that big event you want to go to. And all of a sudden you've got 100 extra bucks and you're like, where did that come from? No stress, no hidden fees, great seats and minutes. Makes it so easy to go last minute to any event. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. If you want to fit more Guardians talk into your day, and who doesn't right now, honestly, check out the Everydayer Club. It gets you ad-free versions of the show. So if you don't care about the sponsors and you just want the baseball talk, straight 30 minutes, you can do that with being a member of the Everydayer Club. And you get access to private listener Discord that gets you into chat with other Guardians fans, other listeners, as well as other fans of the show and fans of other teams. There's a Discord server for everybody and the network that has a show. So that's always out there for you. And you also can get the insiders texting, which gets you notifications right to your phone, whether it's, news, transactions. You can ask questions for mailbag shows, all that kind of stuff. So check out lockdownguardians.supercast.com. Check the link in your show notes to learn more. Need to give a shout out to Caleb, who's an everydayer. Told my wife that he is an everydayer. So appreciate Caleb there for listening. One of our youngest fans, I'm told, Jeff.
Oh.
So good to know the younger generation is slamming their head against the wall with us.
If there's a gentleman out there, and I know this is really bad, but I know he's a longtime listener, and so he'll appreciate me being bad with names and remembering things. But if you're the one who would listen with your son in the car, who would talk about the baseball podcast, are you still listening?
Oh, yeah.
I would love to know.
Yeah.
I bet he is, but I also want to follow you back so I can keep track of names. I am halfway into my 40s, man, I struggle to remember my kids' friends' names, sometimes my coworkers' names. It's if I don't see you face to face, it's at least once a week. You might not exist in my mind anymore.
It took me a couple days to give Caleb his shout out too. So my wife had told me a couple days ago, and I kept for forgetting. Also, shout out to Craig T, one of our insiders, too, who listens from Canada, is a big Tugboat fan. Which, hey, Tugboat was good in his debut. He was 89-91, which we expected, but the fastball had guys swinging over the top or popping it up, which that's what he does well. And we'll see if guys adjust or not. But
it's like if they're just a little more patient, but the lack of patience. It's like they saw the
pitches in 2 innings. Yeah,
they saw the low velocity and started to be like, oh, I can hit this, and then he just was thrown outside the zone, and guys were chasing because they were enticed. It was interesting.
Yeah, certainly no lack of bat speed in this game too. I mean, Petey Halpin had the hardest swing of the game for any Guardians player, which is ironic that it only resulted in a 56-mile-an-hour ground out. So I guess that tells you bat speed isn't always everything.
And I feel like that was his best. I mean, it was a rough day for Halpin. We were seeing because he's gotten squeezed out, and he looked a bit like a guy who's not had a chance to play as much recently. And it was.
I had someone text me. It was like, why isn't Cleo Watson up? And I was like, well, Quan, Martinez, DeLauter, and Adell are basically splitting 5.
Can we talk about this? Like, I'm so confused. Like, Cleo Watson is a lot of fun. If they trade Stephen Kwan, he might be this team center fielder next year, like, honestly. But, like, why is everyone so obsessed with Cleo Watson when, like, he was just okay? Like, I'm very confused by that one. Like, it's the Angel Martinez thing where I'm like, people get very excited about certain guys, and I just get very confused by it. I'm like, yeah, I mean, Martinez Watson had like a 67 WRC plus with a really high strikeout rate. Again, top 15 prospect. I think he's got a chance to be their center fielder next year, but it's just weird to me. Like the guys that get kind of like really,
it's always backup quarterback syndrome. If I look at it, like obviously we know Watson's got big tools. He hits the crap out of the ball. He makes contact. He's a great runner. He can play good defense. He's got a great arm. He legitimately is a 5-tool player if he can make contact, or I don't know about things.
I don't think the hit tools there. I think he's a 4-tool guy.
Yeah. So and that obviously, unfortunately, that's the biggest one.
Yeah.
So I understand getting excited about it because there's a lot of enticing talent there. But I think some of it is backup quarterback syndrome too. It's like he hasn't been up long enough to fail much. And
explain it to me in the comments below as well. Like, I mean, I'm just curious. Like I said, I mean, he's in the top 12 to 13 guys for me in the system. Like, he's a lot of fun, but I didn't think he did anything that stood out this year. So that's why.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Rocchio and Halpin offensively. Like defensively, yeah, both Halpin and Rocchio bring a lot to the table. Offensively, they don't bring much to the table. Like that's just where they are. Rocchio is not hitting well right now, and he hasn't for months.
Since May. Yeah.
Yeah. And Halpin, he had that 2-home run game off of Joe Ryan, which is great, but he hasn't done anything since offensively. Like you said, he's been squeezed out. But that's also why Watson is in AAA because again, you have DeLauter, you have Adell, you have Quan, you have Martinez, you got 4 guys who are switching around outfield spots. So you're just not gonna. And Halpin sitting on the bench, you're not gonna do that to Watson because you think there might be more there and he needs more development. Whereas Halpin kind of is what he is. Like he's a defensive replacement pitch runner.
I almost wonder if with the way this team's set up, if you'd be better off with Perkins than him, right? Isn't that who they got from Milwaukee? Wasn't it Perkins?
Yeah, he's a right-handed hitter.
Right-handed guy who does the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially he is a right-handed Petey Halpin for sure. With a little more success hitting off his side of the platoon versus Halpin, who actually has not even hit right-handed pitching very well. And that's unfortunate that Halpin had to play in this one because if Adell is healthy, he's in right, Martinez is in left, and Quan's in center. So Halpin's not even playing in this one. And again, I know again people are gonna be upset about this, but like the guys who are in the game, like Bazzana, Hanau, some other guys hit the ball hard, should have had some better luck. Other guys didn't execute. Yes, Bazzana and Jose both didn't execute. Neither did Halpin or Rocchio, Hedges, or even Bailey. If this team had Adell and DeLauter in the lineup, this game might also look very different too. So not only did you have bad luck in terms of some batted ball, but you also had 2 your best hitters against left-handed pitching out due to injuries, and that's going to be expected with DeLauter. Like we knew he wasn't going to make it through the year without some bumps and bruises. He had a couple of things. Thankfully, just the one 10-day IL stint and a couple other times where he's had to sit a game or two. But their bench on Wednesday night, Jeff, was Patrick Bailey and David Fry. Like that was the only 2 guys that's not a good way to play your game, especially when there's two of your most important hitters.
The Giants announcers, so I'm a little bit annoyed with the Giants announcers because I like listening to John Miller, and the radio is so delayed from the broadcast. Like I've never run into the issue with any other one when I do this, but it is the most delayed I've ever run into. But the Giants announcer said that like Adell was on crutches today, that he was like in such bad shape that he was in the clubhouse on crutches, is what they were saying on the Giants broadcast.
I wasn't in the clubhouse. I couldn't tell you that, but I didn't see that anywhere else.
I'm just saying, I heard, the Giants broadcaster say it. So that was an interesting thing. So I wonder, hopefully we're expecting, is Chase expected back tomorrow after 3 days off? Is that the hope with the hamstring?
They're hoping, yes, they're hoping he's back tomorrow. They're hoping both of them can play on Thursday. Joe Adell, left knee contusion, Chase DeLauter, left hamstring tightness. Yeah, and then they're saying that both continue to be on the mend. That Adell was feeling a lot better coming in today. Went to go see the doctors, trending better than he was last night. So his knee did swell up on him, so maybe like he was using a crutch just to be safe. But I haven't seen anybody else say that. So I mean, I'd have to see another confirmed.
Like I said, I'll just report it from the, and so I started listening to John Miller, then I switched back to the video because it got so out of, off that it was driving me insane. And then it was time for like bedtime for the kids. And I was just listening to John Miller in my ear and not watching. So it's a good chance it was John Miller who said it. And I mean, in my opinion, I will say this, John Miller's kind of above Eddie. Like I trust that dude implicitly at this point. That's one of the guys. Like I remember playing video games as a kid, and he was the announcer on them. Like has done about as much as anyone in this business anymore.
Sure. We'll talk about more injuries. I guess I want to talk at least about the pitching a little bit, and then we got to talk about Rhys Hoskins going to the IL. David Fry is back. We got to get into whether or not winning the series on Thursday, if the Guardians can do that, if it's enough. Let's talk about health for a second. And the most underrated organ in your body might be your liver. It's your body's filter, processes everything you consume throughout the day, and performs like 500 functions a day. It involves things like energy production, digestion, metabolism, vitamin storage. There's a lot of work behind the scenes, and giving your liver daily support can be an important part of building healthy habits. Dose for Your Liver is a clinically backed liver health supplement designed to support daily liver function. Unlike other capsules or powders, Dose comes a liquid 2-ounce daily shot. Tastes like fresh squeezed orange juice. How good. 0 sugar, 0 junk, 0 calories, making it an easy addition to your daily routine. I'm somebody that's trying to be a little more health conscious these days. I know my metabolism is very important for me, trying to process things. I try not to drink. It's just overall better for your body to kind of keep these things flush as much as you can. Ready to give your liver the support it deserves? Head to dosedaily.co/LockedOnMLB or enter LockedOnMLB. You get 35% off your first subscription. Your body does so much for you. Let's do something for it. That's doscdaily.co/LockedOnMLB for 35% off your first month subscription. Appreciate each and every one of you that makes Locked On Guardians your first listen tonight, every day, wherever it is you get podcasts. Would love it if you hit the subscribe and the bell. Smash that like button on YouTube, as the kids say. Supports the show. You get notifications sent to your phone for live episodes, reactions, if you still want those. And, the auto download on your audio platforms is the best way to go too, because even if you skip a show because you're too frustrated with this team, understandable. If you keep it in your feed as an auto download, it still helps the show out, and you're not forced to listen. We'd love if you listen, because Jeff and I talk to each other a lot, so it's much more fun when we're talking with you, even when the team does frustrate us. But those are good ways to help the show, and we appreciate everybody who does that. I want to make one more point about the offense again too, because I know people are going to get mad about coaching or hitting coaching, and I think we overanalyze, but we give way too much credence to how much impact some of this stuff has on the field. But it was like Stephen Vogt saying, like, I thought we were caught in between on some pitches, and you got to tip your cap. And the post game press conference is it's
word salad every time. There's nothing to be gained.
I listen for the injury updates if there's an injury update on anything.
Okay,
which,
true. I take back what I said. You're right. Right.
That's the only thing that you can gain from that. Otherwise, it is word salad. But Vogt was saying, like, I thought we were caught in between. We had a conversation, during the game and after the game, we're caught in between. And basically, he's saying caught in between, meaning sometimes you're looking fastball and you get a breaking ball or an off-speed pitch. Sometimes you're looking breaking ball or off-speed and you're getting a fastball and you're not reacting.
But Hauser just threw sinker fastball the whole game, so that doesn't even
exactly. It didn't make sense, which is why these comments make no sense. But I know people are going to rush to say, well, it's the hitting coach. If they're saying this, the hitting coach knows this, and you're telling the hitters this. It's on the hitters to say, okay, I have to make the adjustment now that I'm aware of this. And unfortunately, sometimes you can't turn skirt steak into filet mignon. It's just not how it works. Sometimes you have skirt steak and you got to make do with what you have, and it's never going to be filet mignon. Sometimes you can doctor it up as best you can,
And just to do more with the idea too, I'll say with this of short memories and recency bias. I saw a lot of comments today about like, oh, this is like one of the worst teams ever, one of the worst offenses ever. They've had 12 shutouts this year. They had 14 last year by the end of August and then went on their run. August 25th, they were essentially left for dead. Now, they went on a run that I do not expect any team to ever have. But with the tough schedule, with the easy schedule they have, there's, to me, we were going to debate this anyways. To me, every series I go in with the hope to win 2 out of 3. A sweep is really hard to do. You do have to have a degree of luck. You have to be that much better than the other team.
But are we at the point where they're going to need some of those?
I think they're still only weirdly a game and a half out, just because of how cruddy everything is. I think if you can consistently take 2.
You're talking wild card, not division.
Yeah, by the divisions. Let's move on from the division, right? Like, I don't see a pathway. But to get into the wild card where just weird stuff can happen. Like, there's we still haven't seen a small market team have the weird stuff work out enough to win a title, but we have seen a lot of like small market teams make it to the World Series where things can go and you can get through. But yeah, they're 5.5 back of the White Sox at this point in time. I just don't see that happening. But a game and a half back in the wild card, and it just takes, you keep winning 2 out of 3. In most of these series, and they're facing, for the most part, weaker teams. If they can keep winning series, starting with this one, I think they make the postseason. Now, if they lose tomorrow against the Giants, I'm gonna come in here and be like, well, it's looking dark. But you have to take advantage. Landon Rope is a solid starter, but they have hit sinkers pretty well this year. But then Adrian Hauser was mostly throwing sinkers today, and this is a team that's hit 4-seamers and sinkers well, and then they couldn't do it today. But I just wonder too. It's like, you had half of the lineup was unfortunately the B squad because everyone else is hurt or unhealthy. We haven't even talked this late in the episode. People were screaming Rhys Hoskins to the disabled list. I had someone say something to me that I thought was pretty smart, and I think it was I think the guy's name was Kenny Fowler on Twitter. I should look it up. I apologize if I got it wrong. It was Kenny something, I want to say, but again, I'm bad with names. But he wondered if, is the disabled list I was half joking, after the age of 35, everyone has back inflammation anyway, so you can always put a guy there. It's like, is this the way that you pay him for the rest of the year and he maybe just kind of rotates out because it's just not working?
Yeah, I think maybe there's a chance you bring him back in September, like at this point. Like maybe he's just on the IL. Maybe the back is an issue. Maybe it's not. I do think a lot of these players have too much pride to go along with that. In the minor leagues, you don't have a lot of choice. This is going to sound ironic, but when there are certain minor leaguers who are not like priority prospects, they'll go on the injured list, and you really don't have a choice in the minors because they're looking for ways to find room on the roster. We used to call it getting finked, as in Grant Fink, because that was famous. That happened a lot with Grant Fink when he was with Lake County as a player. He wasn't considered a big name prospect, obviously, when he was there, but they liked him a lot. They kept him around because they wanted him to be a future coach and whatever. So he would go on the IL, and they had to make room for somebody else that was better. So we used to call that getting finked. I don't know if Rhys Hoskins is getting finked here, because I think major leaguers have more pride than that. But maybe it's this isn't working. Your back has been bothering you. Let's
rest it, and otherwise we're gonna have to let you go. and that might be even worse. And I'll say,
he still gets the money. Whether he gets let go or not, the money's still.
But
there.
It might look worse for him in terms of getting a job next year, right?
I can't imagine anybody signing him to a contract.
I mean, we didn't think anyone would sign Carlos Santana, so who knows?
I think Rhys Hoskins is done. I'd be surprised. Maybe he comes off the IL. I hate to say this, but I'd hate to see him as the extra man in September.
No, I would as well.
There are more options that are.
Tomorrow we should talk about on the show the first base metrics, where the Savant released reception metrics, and essentially one of the fourth worst guys in terms of scoops in baseball is Rhys Hoskins, and that's the problem with if he's not hitting, he brings you nothing. And he's been okay with runners in scoring position because he walks. He hasn't gotten too low in terms of his production because he walks and he hits home runs, and every single time he goes on a cold streak, he then comes back and hits like 2 home runs, and then it's like, okay.
But he hasn't hit a home run since that 2 home run night, which again,
he hit one against the White Sox when you and I met up in person.
That's right.
He had one that day. So, but he's done enough to stick around. But it's just, and I'll say this: I know someone's probably already screaming in the background. Yes, you can get in trouble for putting a guy on the disabled list who isn't really hurt. Was it the Mets who did that? But you have to be really.
The player has to agree to it.
Yeah,
if the player signs it. It's okay. Yeah,
you have to be really kind of flamboyant in your bucking of the rules to get in trouble. There's still that degree of hey, is your knee is kind of bothering you. Let's do this, and then the player goes.
And Hoskins, it's not about the money because Hoskins, whether they let him go tomorrow, he gets the money anyway. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's saving some face for sure, and the franchise doing right, and they probably do legitimately like him in the clubhouse. I don't know. Speaking of clubhouse stuff, did you see that Gabby Arias got picked up by the Cubs? I know Dansby Swanson's out at least until the playoffs.
People are going to keep giving him chances because he's a plus defender, but
now it's his third team in a month, which is
the Mets claimed him, and they had high pick order because they're going to be a top. I think they're the 5th. Pick in baseball, but it's hard because Lindor is one of the few guys hitting, and it's one of my good buddies out here in New York is a Mets fan. He's like, it's been a little bit fun because they've turned it around here a bit. So
they have.
It was not it wasn't a good fit for them. They're pretty stacked at most positions, or at least have guys who need to play. So he just didn't get a chance to play. He had 5 at bats, but I'm not surprised the Cubs got him. I think if he were to be released by the Cubs, I still think he'd probably get claimed by Tampa or some other teams.
Atlanta,
he's going to keep
for sure.
Atlanta
getting chances.
Yeah.
The David Fry thing too. I had a couple of insiders text me and say, "Why did they call him Fry and not Manzardo?" And it simply had to do with
he can play
versatility.
Outfield.
Yeah, he can play the outfield. So without DeLauter and without Adell being available on Wednesday, they needed somebody who could play multiple spots, and Fry was the most likely candidate there. Plus, they wanted to have someone who hit right-handed as well. And unfortunately, Manzardo is a first baseman / DH only and doesn't quite fit in with that right now. So that's why Fry came up over there. He was doing well at AAA. He hit the ball hard. He was pulling the ball in the air. It's AAA pitching. I don't think anything's changed for him other than the fact that he got to play more, see more pitching, and maybe he was found a way to regain that. But it's going to be hard to sustain that when you play once a week or however it is in the majors too. Even though that was supposed to be his role, that's what he did for 2 months in 2024. We'll see what happens with that regard too. And I want to point out too the pitching, Parker Messick, tie career high in strikeouts, way past his innings in terms of.
It's weird though how he has one walk or single and then a wild pitch then that player scores. I feel like that's 4 or 5 games in a row. That's a weird thing that randomly happens. And it is, Hedges always catches them. I wonder is Hedges just not quite as strong at the blocking game that keeps happening.
I'd have to look. Yeah. I don't know. So Messick was great. And I don't know how much to take from it because it's the Giants lineup and they're not very good, but I would say Eric Sabrowski by far one of the best performances he's had in a while, and he threw strikes. It wasn't like the Giants just sucked. He threw strikes. The Giants might not be a good hitting team, but he wasn't wild. He wasn't walking guys. Cade Smith came in and looked like he was the most rested man on the planet
and that's
he hasn't pitched
3 good ones in a row for Gaddis. So even if you don't want to say it's just this, it's
been a great night for the bullpen and pitching. They played clean defense. That's the thing. This team. They played pretty good defense, and they played. Their pitching was great, and they didn't hit, and that's kind of where they are. maybe they'll hit on Thursday, and Gavin will have a dud or the bullpen will blow it. And if that's the case, they're in deep crap. But they got to put it all together. And that's why we keep saying, like, that's why we said on Wednesday show, Jeff, like, okay, they took a good first step. They beat the crap out of Carson Wisenhunt. They had a great game. They had to come back and do it again Wednesday. Well, they didn't. So they got to come back and win the series Thursday. We'll go from there. And they also have to get some of those guys healthy when they head to Colorado, because you're going to need them. Hopefully that's the case. Yeah.
This is the time to take advantage of it. This is the schedule. Guys get healthy. They need to, even if they don't, start stepping up. Who has stepped up is all of you. We know it is a frustrating time. So I appreciate each and every one of you joining us during these times right now where this team makes you want to pull out your hair half the time, and the other half the time makes you so excited that they actually put things together for once. So thank you all for joining us. Rate and review, download daily. As Justin said, hey, just download even if you're not going to listen. That helps us out so much. Though we prefer if you listened, of course. And go Guardians, go.